Bolt fam, today the mood is a wild mix of frustration, hope, and a lot of pressure on these Chargers. That last collapse didn't just hurt, it ripped open old wounds, and at the same time, opened a strange little window in this season, with a stretch that could change everything. And that's not exaggeration. We've got issues on the offensive line, a big-name veteran popping up as a possible reinforcement, a weird situation in the backfield, and front office moves shaping the future of this roster. You're not going to believe what we've got today, so sit back, drop a like, and let's dive straight into the news. Bolt fam, let's be real. That beatdown from the Jaguars wasn't just another loss. It was the kind of game that sends every alarm blaring and makes us seriously wonder if this team is actually ready to compete at the top. But behind all that chaos, there's a dangerously interesting window opening up for the Chargers, and it runs right through this combo of a perfectly timed bye week, a chance to get bodies healthy, and a home matchup against the Raiders that can absolutely become the turning point of the season. If you look only at the record, a lot of people from the outside will say, relax, they're still in it. But anyone who's watched every snap knows the situation is way more tense than the standings let on. Justin Herbert is clearly feeling the pressure, and it's not just emotional, it's real heat, with pass rushers screaming free because the offensive line is patched together, inconsistent, and taking a beating week after week. That's where this bye week feels almost like an unexpected gift. The team is coming off a game where everything that could go wrong did go wrong, especially in protection and in Greg Roman's offensive rhythm. The whole offense looked stuck, the game plan felt rigid, and they struggled badly to find any kind of flow. With an extra week, Harbaugh and his staff get precious time to clean up protections, rework the calls, redefine the run game identity, and try to restore confidence in Herbert. And it's not just about resting bodies, it's about the setup. After the bye comes a home game at SoFi against a division rival that's spiraling. The Raiders are sinking with a terrible record, internal turbulence, and a completely foggy future. If there's ever a perfect moment for a statement game, that we're still alive performance that resets the tone of the season, it's this one. But the real drama comes right after that. Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Texans, Broncos, a brutal stretch of defenses that know how to pressure the quarterback, punish weak offensive lines, and expose every flaw in protection. Either the Chargers use this bye and this Raiders game as a true turning point, or this final stretch might turn this season into yet another massive frustration in Los Angeles. Bolt fam, buckle up, because now the vibe shifts completely. While a lot of people are focused only on the chaos of the season, one name has started to pop up strongly behind the scenes and could directly shape the immediate future of this battered offensive line, Lael Collins. And this isn't just some random name thrown out there. We're talking about a 32-year-old veteran, experienced, physical, built in exactly the mold of the identity Jim Harbaugh wants to establish in Los Angeles. Before we dive into the rumor, let's set the scene properly. The right side of the Chargers' offensive line has turned into a black hole. No consistency, no punch, no presence. Protecting Herbert has become a coin flip. And every time that happens, the same question explodes among fans. Why aren't they going after someone on the market? That's exactly where Collins comes into the conversation. And it's not just a couple of random fans saying it. Analysts, insiders, and even fan pages have started calling him the natural fit for this system. Only, there's a big plot twist. Collins hasn't taken a regular season snap since 2022, when he suffered that brutal knee injury, a torn ACL and MCL. That changed everything in his career. Since then, it's been a string of failed attempts to stick. Rehab in Cincinnati, short stints in Dallas and Buffalo, workouts, evaluations, nothing that turned into stability. This past August, he even signed with the Cowboys again, but he was cut just days before final 53-man rosters were set. So why is this name suddenly back in a spotlight now? Because the schematic fit is almost perfect. He's the textbook power gap right tackle. Physical, nasty, dominant in the run game. And let's be honest, that's classic Harbaugh ball. Run heavy, clock control, less on Herbert's arm and more on the big guys up front. National outlets have already listed Chargers, Bears, and Dolphins as logical landing spots. And Los Angeles stands out for one simple reason: immediate need. The line is banged up, the quarterback is getting hit, and this team needs someone who can walk in the door and command respect from the first snap. The problem? Everything hinges on the one question nobody can answer without a full medical workup. How's the knee, really? Can Collins handle a full volume of snaps? Can he survive a stretch of physical, high-stakes games without another setback? While everyone tries to figure that out, one thing is obvious. This rumor isn't going away anytime soon. And given what the Chargers are going through in the trenches right now, this might be exactly the kind of calculated gamble Harbaugh would be willing to take. Bolt fam, get ready, because this next one hits right at the heart of the team's offensive identity, and at the same time uncovers a rare opportunity that's hard to ignore. While the Chargers regroup during the bye week, a surprising move in the AFC has reignited a big debate in Los Angeles: the name Damen Pierce. Yes, that Damen Pierce, the running back who became a rookie sensation in Houston and now, in a move that shocked a lot of people, is suddenly on the market. Look at the context. Joe Ortiz, who has never hidden the fact that he'll flip the bottom of the roster whenever he can, is staring at the exact kind of situation where he usually pounces. His philosophy is simple: always hunt for value where no one else is really looking. It was that way in the draft, it was that way during the offseason, and everything points to it being that way now, too. Only this time, there's a detail that makes everything even more intriguing. The Chargers' backfield is stretched to the limit. With Omarion Hampton on IR and Kamani Vidal as the only running back on the active roster, it's impossible to ignore how urgent the situation has become. That's where the Texans' wild move comes in. Damen Pierce, who put together a monster rookie season, 939 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, basically carrying an entire offense on his back, simply never fit into Bobby Slowick's new scheme. He went from a power run attack to a wide zone system and never looked like the same player. But that doesn't mean he forgot how to run. It means the scheme changed. And what's Harbaugh's offensive DNA? Physical, downhill, smash-mouth football between the tackles. Exactly the environment where Pierce has already proven he can dominate. And that's where the fire really starts to spread. Out of nowhere, a young, cheap, strong, violent power runner hits the market, exactly when the Chargers are desperate at the position. That feels like more than coincidence. This debate is growing for a simple reason. Pierce isn't a break glass in case of emergency guy. He's an impact player when he's in a system that suits his style. And right now, Los Angeles is one of the few teams in the league that offers that kind of fit. Will it actually happen? Nobody knows yet. But with Ortiz in charge, Harbaugh begging for more physicality, and a backfield that's basically running on fumes, one thing is guaranteed. This rumor is going to fuel discussion for a long time. Bolt fam, take a deep breath, because now we're getting into the part of the story almost nobody really follows, but it says a lot about this team's future. The quiet but massive impact the Chargers have been making on their salary cap over the past few weeks. While a lot of people only pay attention to what happens on the field, Joe Ortiz and his staff have been making moves that, at first glance, look like simple win-now patches. But when you line them up side by side, they reveal a much deeper strategy. It all starts with the trade for Odafe Oweh, an aggressive move that brought in a young, explosive pass rusher still on his rookie deal through 2025. That means two big things: immediate production at a controlled cost, and a real chance to lock him up long-term before the pass rush market gets even crazier. That's the kind of move you make when you're thinking about the next few seasons, not just the next game. Then came the second step on the chessboard: Trevor Penning, a left tackle who's physically dominant, technically inconsistent, but with real upside and a contract that's about to expire. Harbaugh didn't bring in Penning by accident. He brought him in because he believes he can mold him. If it works, you've stolen a high upside tackle. If it doesn't, it's just an expiring deal that cost you little. The downside is small. The potential payoff is enormous. But in the middle of all this, there's the detail that really caught Bolt fam off guard: the current cap space. Just about $2 million free, basically pocket change in NFL terms. That confused a lot of people, but the truth is that number doesn't tell the full story. Ortiz knows how to work the cap, and the proof is in the projection for 2026. More than $100 million in space. That's not an accident. That's cold, calculated planning, totally in sync with Harbaugh's vision. That's the part that's both terrifying and exciting. Yes, $100 million can disappear quickly once you start talking about extensions, outside signings, and an entire draft class. But it also shows something very few teams manage: managing the present and the future without blowing up the core of the roster. In the end, it all points to a conclusion that leaves every fan a little restless. These small moves, these contracts they're taking on, this tight cap now and massive room later, none of it is random. Los Angeles is clearly laying the groundwork for a deep reshaping of this roster, whether it's locking down explosive talents like Oweh or opening the door for big-time reinforcements in 2026. And while the rest of the league tries to figure out what exactly the Chargers are building, Joe Ortiz just keeps executing his plan. Quiet, meticulous, and dangerously ambitious. So, Bolt fam, after all that, it's impossible to ignore how this bye week might actually be the real turning point of the season. Between the chance to rebuild confidence after the collapse against Jacksonville, the heavy rumor around Lael Collins, the unexpected opening with Damen Pierce on the market, and the quiet cap moves led by Joe Ortiz, the feeling is clear. The Chargers are in one of those moments where every single decision can change everything. The question is, which of these pieces do you think will have the biggest impact on the team's immediate future? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel.